Hello, this is Todd Luck, and I want to talk to you about a classic Marvel movie adaptation that was so nice they had to reprint it twice, but this time in its original magazine format. This is a review of The Land That Time Forgot, official 1974 film adaptation, director's edition. And this isn't just a facsimile edition. This has enhancements that make it the ultimate version of this classic movie adaptation. Now, this is not available in comic shops, but this was off of the Kickstarter for Land That Time Forgot, Fearless, which is a trade paperback I'll be reviewing later. However, this is not a oh, I'm doing a review of something you can't get. You will be able to get this off of edgarriceburroughs.com at some point in the future. There's usually a little bit of time between the Kickstarter and when it goes up for order on their shop. So I will do a follow-up video when that happens, so feel free to subscribe and I'll keep you updated. And just a reminder, there's another Kickstarter going on right now for a gallery of Edgar Rice Burroughs artwork by Mike Wolfer, featuring characters like Tarzan, Land That Time Forgot, Carson of Venus, and it also has an opportunity to get a 48-page How to Create Comics guide by Mike Wolfer using examples from Edgar Rice Burroughs comics. All right, and so obviously this new Land That Time Forgot reprint is adapting a 1974 film. I've already done a review of the movie, so I'm not going to rehash it here. I'll just say that I did enjoy it, and the effects in there are a little bit dated, but they were good for the time, and I think it does a good job of capturing the novel, even though it does make its fair share of changes like any movie. And so almost a year later in 1975, a Marvel movie premiere adapting the movie came out. And so this is a magazine format adaptation. It's a single issue and it has this gorgeous painted cover. It's a 52-page black and white adaptation written by Marv Wolfman with artwork by Sonny Trinidad. It has an article in the back on Lost Worlds by Lynn Carter, and it's neat, but it doesn't really have much to do with the movie. It has some movie photos in the back that printed okay, but you know, the printing of the time was a little bit rough for photography. And so this is the back inside cover, and then this is the back, and it's a reproduction of the movie poster, but the movie poster, of course, was in color, and this is in black and white, so it's a little bit rough. And so that is the original black and white movie adaptation. Spectacular for the time, and if you're into buying old comics, this is a good option. It's going to be the priciest that I'm going to show you here. But one thing that I think is really neat is that Marvel always puts the hero of the comic in the corner box. And so in here, we have the Tyrannosaurus in the corner box. And of course, the Tyrannosaurus is the hero of The Land That Time Forgot. We all knew that. So the first time it was reprinted was by American Mythology under editor-in-chief Mike Wolfer. And so this was a 2-issue reprint done in comic book format. And they sized it to the page in a very sensible way, just leaving a little bit of extra room on the top and bottom of the page. It looks good. And since it's 2 issues, Mike Wolfer actually created an original cover for the second issue. And this 2-issue adaptation is the cheapest you can get this. And it's a good option if you're looking to save money or have a version of it that fits in your comic box. And now we come to the new hotness. This is our brand new reprint in magazine format. There are a few differences here. It opens with a foreword by director Kevin Conner. His director's commentaries and interviews on the movie were a treasure trove of information about how they made it that I used in my review. And I gotta tell you, he does a great job of summing it all up in this foreword. It is not printed on newsprint. It is printed on slick modern paper that really, really makes this artwork pop. It is a nice thick paper stock, but it is also a nice thick cover stock. And it does feel like it is sturdy enough to hold the weight of the paper. If you see my Savage Sword reviews, you know why I'm saying that. And then there is a brand new photo gallery in the back. These are photos from Kevin Conner himself. I don't think these have ever been printed, and they print beautifully. A lot of the times when we look at old photos, we see them on newsprint or a cheaper paper stock that didn't print very well. But my God, looking at them on modern paper with modern printing, I remember just how damn good old film photography is. I feel like I'm in the same room with these people. It also includes these old promotional images from the time, and I wish these were a little bit bigger. I wish they turned them on their side and gave each of them a page, but they printed beautifully here. And then the inside back cover is that piece from Mike Wolfer, and so it's kind of neat. He was able to include his own work in here. And then we have a glorious color printing of the movie poster on the back, and it looks great. This is the cover for the Blu-ray that I reviewed in my movie review, but you get to see it so much bigger. And I gotta tell you, I just didn't appreciate how crazy this movie poster is. I mean, look at this. This is like looks like the freaking Nautilus being attacked by a man ray that's shooting laser beams at it. This has nothing to do with the movie. I don't know what they were smoking, but did they have any left? And so The Land of Time Forgot is the story of this passenger ship that is sunk by a German submarine, and then the survivors take over that submarine, and they end up in this lost land named Caprona or Casbah, and it's filled with all kinds of prehistoric creatures and peoples. And so the survivors of that passenger ship and the Germans have to unite together to survive. I've already done a review of the last time that this was reprinted, The Land That Time Forgot, 1975, and you can check that out. But I'll just say that the story here in the adaptation captures the major plot points of the movie, but it does make some changes. Like, for instance, Liz LaRue's name is used from the novels. Her name was very different in the movie, and they also make her the ex of the German submarine captain, which was not in the movie, but in the novel. It's not unusual for movie adaptations to have big differences from the movie, and oftentimes that's because they're working on an earlier version of the script than what got to screen. However, in this instance, this adaptation actually came out way after the movie, so I'm not sure why the changes are there, but it's still very interesting and kind of provides a what if the movie had been just a little bit closer to the novel. And so that is the contents of your new printing of The Land That Time Forgot movie adaptation. However, there is one big difference here from the original that I haven't talked about yet. It's smaller than the original. And the reason for this is that this is not being sent to a big printer in Canada that's going to put out thousands of copies for your comic shop's shelf. This is a Kickstarter that is going to have a small run. They'll be available at edgarrayspurs.com. And so this is being done print on demand, digital printing. And so there are more limited options, and this is the closest they could get to that size and format. And I think it works beautifully. It's just a little bit smaller, but boy, does it look great. The artwork is actually the same size. The only difference is that the top and bottom margins are much smaller. And if you look at the bottom, you may notice a little bit of slanting on the artwork because of that. But that is not computer error, and that is not unique to this printing. That was actually in the original. I took a ruler to this stuff and measured it. That is good old-fashioned human flaws. You can't get more authentic than that. And both reprints of this adaptation keep the typo in that one panel. So again, you can't be more faithful to the original than that. And I'll take a little bit of shrinkage for something that printed this well. As you've seen over in my Savage Sword reviews, you can run into some issues when you're doing black and white printing. And don't get me wrong, Savage Sword is an amazing magazine. I do highly recommend, and I think they've gotten better with their QC issues, but it's just nice to pick up something like this that just printed so well. All right, that's it. I am still working on Mike Wolfer's new novel that Tarzan is holding over here, The Land That Time Forgot, Fortress Primeval, and there will be a review coming of that. And I've got plenty of other reviews coming, so like and subscribe for more videos. And until next time, see ya.